All right, y'all. Welcome back to Two Marines React. Again, I am Theo from Combat Arms Channel, and with me is Ryan from Dit Commando.
Hey, troops.
Today, we are checking out, this is kind of a weird one. I don't know what it's going to be focusing on specifically. It's 50 insane Special Forces facts. So, I don't know. I guess this is going to be general Special Forces and not any specific unit.
Like to think it would be generically speaking, but infographics is quite America Central, so might just be US.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out anyway.
I mean, yeah, we see a ninja, so maybe it's going to give us like the history of Special Forces too. But all right, let's check it out.
Let's go.
Special Forces, or Special Operations Forces as they're called in some countries, are units within the military who are trained and formulated for the purpose of carrying out specialized operations. This can include any military missions that require unconventional tactics, techniques, and modes of employment. According to NATO, Special Forces have existed in multiple forms in almost every army in the entire world. Today we're going over 50 insane facts you probably didn't know about the world's most elite warriors.
Here we go.
Number 50. The earliest Special Forces can be traced back to ancient militaries throughout history. Jiang Ziya, a Chinese strategist, wrote about men who were recruited into units that specialized in scaling buildings,
What's he holding the rope
walls,
for?
and other high
scaling
structures.
the building.
Number 49.
He's got like a grappling hook. That's kind of cool.
Selected troops in fast-moving camouflaged boats were sent out to conduct scouting missions in enemy waters. Number 48. In the early Byzantine period, Muslim forces also conducted similar operations with their naval units. At least one consisted of similar camouflage ships to those used by the Romans, allowing their troops to gather intelligence and launch raids on their enemies with the element of surprise. They also had another unit composed of any soldiers capable of passing as crusaders who would infiltrate enemy ships and either capture or eliminate them. Number 47.
So we're getting a little bit of like not just Special Forces, but kind of just like general reconnaissance slash like, I mean, he was like a spy. It sounded like
I mean,
Crusader
like
spy.
The kind of start of what Special Forces kind of has developed into, really, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Special Forces is a very vague term, so I guess it fits the bill.
What was the video stuff?
With the role of modern-day Special Forces, such as assassination, espionage, or reconnaissance operations. Number 46. The British Army first became aware of its need for specialized units of troops during the Second Boer War. One such unit were the Lovat Scouts, a Scottish Highland regiment made up of talented troops well-versed in fieldcraft and marksmanship. First formed by Lord Lovat in 1900, the Lovat Scouts became the first ever sniper unit to exist in the British Army.
I mean, what I'm looking at the uniform, and then obviously Lovat Scouts. Our like we have a dress called Lovets, so you know blues what you'll wear similar, and then Lovets or Lovats. I wonder if that's kind of linked. I'll probably get wrong off any British people watching this for not knowing my core history. I didn't know that.
Maybe it's all right. Yeah, that's cool though.
Number 45. Shock troops, elite units tasked with carrying out high-risk raids on enemy defensive positions, were first seen during World War I. Both the Arditi and stormtroopers of the Italian and German armies, respectively, received more intense training than average soldiers in order to carry out these daring assaults. Number 44. The birth of most modern Special Forces can be tracked back to the Second World War. During this time, almost every army that was involved in the conflict created specialized divisions within its ranks, designed to operate behind the enemy lines. Number 43. Following a call for specially trained troops of the Hunter class who can develop a reign of terror down the enemy coast by UK Prime Minister Winston Churchill, the British Commandos were established in 1940, and their first raid took place on the 23rd of June that very same year.
So
everything came from World War II.
Yeah, you got the parachute regiment. You've got so British Commandos. Yeah, that's where. So Royal Marines. Obviously, we've had Royal Marines since 1664, but we got the commando title to that in the 1940s with, certain elements of the British Army as well. So we were then turned into an army contingent, then a naval contingent after that. So,
snap. I didn't know that you guys didn't have the commando, like, I guess, designation initially.
That's cool. we had blue berets before that. So, when you see a Royal Marine recruit with a blue beret, that's because we're paying respect to the old Royal Marines before they became commandos, and then when you pass the course, you get your green beret. So only since 1940.
That's really cool.
Number 42. One of the most secretive factions of the U.S. Special Forces are the Delta Force, believed to have had a hand in removing Saddam Hussein from power. Breaking NDAs around Delta Force can lead to hefty prison sentences. A number of Special Forces units that we know today can trace their origins back to the British Commandos. Some British Special Forces units were even founded by soldiers who had served with the Commandos, like the Parachute Regiment and the Special Air Service, more popularly known as the SAS. Number 40. U.S. Special Forces personnel are encouraged to take up sports to maintain physical fitness and team-building skills. They're trained in everything from basketball to water polo, often by Olympic-level athletes. Number 39. Much like NASA, the U.S. Special Forces often pioneers technologies that end up being adopted by the general public, including shark bite kits and medical freeze-dried plasma for emergency surgeries. Number 38. The UK's SAS was first formed in 1941 under Lieutenant David Stirling. It was Sterling's belief that a small, coordinated group of soldiers could inflict a greater blow to an enemy and impede their ability to fight more than a larger unit could. Number 37.
Yeah, so what did they do initially? Because every time I see like stuff about the early SAS, they were like in Africa or something, in like the desert.
So it was in the desert. Is like they found a need for them, and they were basically just a rogue outfit of random men, and that kind of rogue mentality still carried on today. Of like, you know, let's have less of a rank structure, let's have less kind of formalities and stuff. You know, they were just literally there to get a job done and do it however they could, really. So it's an awesome regiment, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the SAS were never intended to be a permanent unit. They were established during World War II, at the time known only as Mysterious L Detachment, and were disbanded after fighting against the Nazis, only to then be reintroduced shortly after. Number 36. If you want to become a member of the U.S. Special Forces, you better be a proficient linguist. Learning a second language is often a prerequisite to enrollment in the program. Number 35.
Prerequisite?
U.S. Special Ops have good reason for
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, there'll definitely be certain branches of Special Forces that require you to at least learn or have the academic ability to learn a language quick. You know, there's like reconnaissance, certain reconnaissance, specialist reconnaissance regiments and stuff like that, I'd imagine, but not standard SF, you know?
So we have a test that sort of like
a linguist
determines
thing.
your proficiency to learn a language.
Same,
So if you do well on that, they'll teach you the language.
Exactly, yeah.
Languages too, as they operate in 147 different countries, equating to over 75% of the globe.
That's crazy.
Number 34. Alongside the SAS, the British Army also has a number of other Special Forces groups at its disposal, including the SAS Reserves in the Joint Special Forces Aviation Wing that exists in conjunction with the Royal Air Force, or RAF. Number 33.
So they failed to mention like the other contingents as well. Like you've got the Special Boat Service.
Right, I was expecting them to be up there.
Which is, you know, the train to get in by default's longer anyway, because you got to do all of the, you know, all the waterborne stuff as well. And you got Special Reconnaissance Regiment as well. So there's other parts.
The UK also has their Special Boat Services, which was supposedly founded after one of the World War II British commandos, who was unhappy that his commanders weren't making use of his stealthy abilities in the water, snuck aboard a naval vessel and carved his initials on the captain's cabin door. Apparently, the British Navy were so impressed by this that they gave the commando his very own unit that would go on to become the Special Boat Service.
I don't know
Number
about
32.
That.
While you might imagine Special Forces soldiers are unfeeling killing machines with no connections, the average U.S. Special Forces soldier is around 34, married, and has 2 kids. Number 31.
That's quite old then.
Between 2001 and 2002, a coalition of special forces from around the world assisted in the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan and supported the U.S. in removing the Taliban from power. Number 30. One of the most famous Special Forces units in the world, the United States Navy SEAL Team 6, were instrumental in a May 2nd, 2011 mission codenamed Operation Neptune Spear, the raid on the Abbottabad compound of al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. Number 29. SEAL stands for Sea, Air, and Land. They have no relation to those semi-aquatic mammals you'll find balancing beach balls on their noses for fish at the local aquarium. It's just a funny coincidence. And you might find yourself sent back to a CIA black site if you point it out. Number 28. The primary role of the Navy SEAL is to undertake special operations missions in small teams in a range of different environments, including urban areas, jungles, deserts, and mountainous terrain.
I do love the SEALs. If I ever had a chance to like do something in in like the United States military. I would have loved to have went the US Marine route and then maybe went into that route, you know, as a career progression. That to me, as a British person, being a Royal Marine would have been my ideal route in the US, if I had the chance anyway.
Yeah, I don't have much experience with them, to be honest. I've worked way more with like Army Special Forces or Rangers, but honestly, like Coast Guard MSRT more than the Navy SEALs too.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you were hoping to join up with the Navy SEALs, then you might want to think again, unless you're prepared for one hell of a training regimen. Hell Week is a 7-day competition designed to select trainees fit for the SEALs. Hopefuls have to endure icy cold waters, carry heavy packs through mud, sleep deprivation, risk of hypothermia and hallucination, and all while being shouted at by instructors. Number 27.
Everyone knows
the U.S. Navy
Week.
SEAls are often sent on missions that require them to capture, or in some cases, much like with bin Laden, kill targets of a high strategic value to the U.S.'s enemies. In addition, Navy SEAls are often occasionally tasked with venturing behind enemy lines in order to gather intelligence. Number 25.
With a Barrett 50
the SEAls also have their own motto: the only easy day was yesterday. Number 24. Another of America's more well-known Special Forces units is that of the United States Army Rangers. While the modern members are all graduates from a school specializing in the Rangers' tactics, the word Ranger has been used in warfare since the early 17th century by a group of New England soldiers that served during King Philip's War in 1676.
Rogers Rangers or something?
The Rangers have had an active involvement in a staggering number of wide-scale modern conflicts since their emergence in the colonial period of U.S. history. Since then, they've taken part in some of the most prolific wars in American history, such as World War II, the Vietnam War, the Iraq War, and the war in Afghanistan.
That's cool.
Number 22. The U.S. Army Rangers motto is simply, Rangers lead the way. The origins of this can be traced back to the Rangers' involvement in World War II. During the landings on Omaha Beach, Normandy, a brigadier general named Norman Cota asked Max Schneider, a major in the 5th Ranger Battalion, what outfit is this? In reference to his unit, the response, Schneider said, 5th Rangers, sir, to which Cota replied, well, if you're Rangers, lead the way. Number 21. Some special forces have such intense training regimens that recruits sometimes die in the process. In 2013, 3 British soldiers died during a 16-mile march that was a compulsory part of the SAS training scheme. Number 20. In 2014, the Norwegian Special Operations Forces introduced its first all-female unit, Troppen, which translates to Hunter Squad. Number 19. Similarly, the first females to successfully complete the notoriously grueling program graduated from Ranger School the following year in August 2015. Number 18. While this is commonly mistaken to be the name of the Russian Special Forces, the term Spetsnaz is an umbrella term used in reference to Special Forces units in a number of Russian-speaking countries. Historically, the word was used to refer to units controlled by the Soviet Union's military intelligence agency, the GRU. Number 17. With approximately a combined 15,000 operatives, the Spetsnaz, consisting of units such as Russia's Special Operations Forces and the Main Intelligence Directorate, or GRU, has...
So I'm just thinking, Russia's a big place, right? Like a real big place. So is 15,000 Spetsnaz even a lot?
Well, what's their population like? Because I don't imagine a lot of their land is, very densely populated.
Yeah.
But 15,000. I thought the GRU is more of like an intelligence unit, but I guess they kind of like intermingle when you talk about intelligence and
with
special
others
forces.
And stuff.
A reputation as being one of the toughest special forces in the world, and for a good reason.
Yeah, you do
16,
hear that.
Spetsnaz training can only be completed after a recruit has undergone basic military training and involves inflicting a high amount of pain on those hoping to join. Training includes completing an assault course while being shot at, with live ammo, as well as martial arts lessons utilizing actual knives.
Stuff, right?
This has, as you'd expect, resulted in a number of stab wounds for the recruits.
I guess it does something.
During the late 70s and early 80s, members of Syria's special forces were made to eat an array of animals as part of their training. These included live and highly poisonous snakes and scorpions.
Well, so is that like Animal Eating Week or something?
Yeah, what's the name for it?
Oh, damn, week 10's coming up, guys.
I think I'd rather eat a scorpion than be like starved or walk like 16 miles.
Number 14. As part of their uniform, members of the Sri Lankan Army Special Forces Regiment wear a patch depicting the Jolly Roger. That's right, the skull and crossbones commonly used by pirates on the high seas during the 18th century. Number 13. The Korean People's Army's Special Operations Force, or the Special Forces of North Korea, is rumored to have approximately 200,000 soldiers at its disposal, armed with Korean-made copies of weapons like the AK-47 and M16.
Yeah.
Number 12.
Is this like, you know, China's got like, oh yeah, they've got millions of soldiers, but then you realize, no, they've got millions of uniforms which they put on a lot of non-military people. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Is it similar?
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I mean, North Korea, I'm pretty sure has like a mandatory, like compulsory service as well. But I mean, you got to think like they aren't fed that well, they aren't trained that well, and they aren't equipped that well. So it really doesn't matter how many. If it's like a quantity over quality thing, it's probably going to end up going to that.
Yeah.
12. The Special Forces of China's military, the People's Liberation Army.
At least we can't get canceled from North Korean viewers.
The PLA Ground Force and the PLA Marine Corps. Number 11. If you ask someone to tell you what a soldier's hairstyle looks like, they'll probably describe them as a buzz cut and clean shaven. The regulations are a little bit more relaxed for those in the Special Forces, meaning they're sometimes lucky enough to sport full beards. This is due to Special Forces sometimes needing to adjust their appearance to a new environment in order to blend in.
I can't grow a beard. I can't even grow a mustache.
Stop after retirement for many Special Forces operatives. Some find work as bodyguards to high-profile businessmen, private military contractors, and some ex-SAS soldiers were even hired to help rebuild Iraq after the Iraq War. And paid up to $1,500 per day. Number 9. Special Forces aren't always involved in high-action combat missions. Many are deployed to provide aid during humanitarian crises in the aftermath of natural disasters like tsunamis and earthquakes. Number 8. In Greece, there's an entire Special Force division dedicated to underwater demolition. That's right, their job is to blow things up underwater. Number 7.
I wonder how many they have.
Secrecy and a low profile are...
Yeah, and also, like, they must be drinking coffee all the time, right? Because how many things do you need to blow up underwater?
Right, yeah, I don't know. It's like a very specific thing. I don't know what Greece is doing unless they just like have a bunch of mines around their country or something. I don't know.
Are essential to all Special Forces. During the war in Afghanistan, Joint Task Force 2, a Canadian Special Forces unit, were deployed without their own prime minister knowing about it. Number 6. In France, the National Gendarmerie Intervention Group, or GIGN, regards the secrecy of its operations so highly that by law, no one is allowed to print photographs that feature the faces of any member of the GIGN.
Wow, that's good.
Number 5. Unit 217 of the Israeli Army Special Forces are known as the Duvdevan. In English, this translates to cherry. Why are they called cherry? That's because they're the fruit at the top of the tree. Number 4. The Peruvian Army Special Forces likes to intimidate their enemies by painting their faces to look like skulls. Number 3.
Didn't we stop painting our faces like that like a couple hundred years ago? Or am I missing
people started getting shot at? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather have camouflage now. That's just me.
The forces unit is known as the Gatak Force, derived from a Hindi word meaning killer or lethal. Number 2, being dedicated to the cause is essential when you're in the Special Forces. That means adapting to unique problems to achieve your objectives. In 1979, the French GIGN were supporting the Saudi Army's recapture of the Grand Mosque in the city of Mecca. However, Mecca is a holy city, and non-Muslims are denied entry. To get around this problem, the entire team converted to Islam.
Really?
Number 1.
Wow.
Frogman is a special...
My ignorance to that, I didn't actually know that, like non-Muslims weren't allowed in. I didn't know that. Did you know that? Or?
I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Holy cow.
So not even allowed,
to those guys.
like loud in the area then as well, or is it literally just
maybe just to go like like in the vicinity of like I'm not even sure what it's called, the big black square thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it's called.
If anyone knows in the chat, let us know in the comments. Actually, I'd like to hear. About that.
Forces slang term used in reference to divers trained in underwater tactics and combat. Originally, it was the nickname of the U.S. Navy diver John Spence, who wore a green wetsuit. Not the most dignified name for a professional soldier. Now for more amazing Special Forces.
It's cool though. Frogman's badass.
Frogman is badass, and I didn't know that's where it came from. I was actually expecting like quite a single Special Forces centric video, but that was pretty widespread. To be fair.
It was pretty cool. They threw in like some of the smaller countries, like I mean, again, the Greece thing. I don't know. That was kind of weird. That's kind of like cherry picking, but it is kind of cool to get like some sort of exposure to all these different Special Forces.
Yeah, it is. And I think one thing to remember is that not every special forces is alike in terms of the standard required for that specific country. Normally, from what I've found, is there just isn't a requirement for certain countries to be as effective as others, you know? I mean, if you think about America, the United Kingdom, by default, the operations we are constantly involved in, you know, it does require a certain standard. Do you know what I mean?
Right. It also depends on if they're going to be like the potential to be in the public eye, the potential to make an international incident. If the countries aren't involved in operations like that, they're not going to need people that are like able to, you know, be capable of not messing that kind of stuff up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't add a whole lot to the video. I've not really done a whole lot of special forces stuff, especially with like other countries. But
yeah,
I mean, it was cool. It had some good facts. So if there's anything that stood out, or if you guys can fact check anything in the comment section, definitely feel free to do that. But overall, I think the video was pretty good. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was really good, actually. And if you did like the video, guys, if you like our reaction, please smash that like button, whichever channel you're watching it on, and subscribe to our channel as well. All links will be in the description for both of our channels, guys. You know by now that we do these types of reactions, so go support each channel wherever you're watching. We'd really appreciate that. And drop some comments below if you have any recommendations to other videos that you want to see us react to, because, you know, we'll be doing a lot more of this. So yeah, wherever you are in the world, thanks for watching, and see you later. Peace.